pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Christian.
Yes, I'll do a roll call. District 1, Ms. Purcell. Present. 2, Ms. Williams. Here. 3, Mr. McIntyre. Present. 4, Mr. Brown.
Present.
5, Ms. Key. 6, Mr. Bowen.
Here.
7, Mr. Thompson. 8, Mr. Golden.
Here.
9, Ms. Dunn. Here. 10, Mr. Boswell.
Here.
11, Mr. Lewis.
Here.
12, Mr. Morris.
Here.
13, Ms. Lemon. And 14, Mr. Grabley.
Okay. Thank you. Need approval of minutes for July board meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion, second, in discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. Next item is, report on project, section 11, Albert Shelby.
All right, so good morning, Chairman Brown.
Good morning.
Commissioner, members of the board. Glad to be back. I'm here to present the projects the department is proposing to advertise for the September 2023 letting. So before we present September 2023, here are the FY 2024 results. We had led a total of 48 projects in fiscal year 24. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 48 projects is approximately $283 million through the July 2023 bid awards, and all have been GDOT let. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with maintenance, safety, and road projects making up the bulk of these projects. Here are the results of the July 2023 letting. Of the 53 GDOT let contracts presented to the board, 48 were awarded, 2 were withdrawn, and 3 were rejected. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the September 2023 letting. We have a total of 33 projects with 32 GDOT and 1 local let. The next 3 slides list those 33 projects arranged by congressional district. So as you can see with this slide, we are letting a variety of projects throughout the state to address bridge, capacity, enhancement, maintenance, and safety issues. Many of our projects are safety focused. We propose to let a variety of safety projects, including a roundabout, rumble strips, pedestrian crossings, railroad crossings, and pavement markings. These projects are great examples of our continued commitment to providing a safe traveling experience for our motorists, pedestrians, and bicyclists. In the June 2023 presentation to the Committee of the Whole, Kelly Roberts discussed the safety program in great detail. One of those safety projects is this one. That includes installing raised medians and pedestrian hybrid beacons along State Route 12 from DeKalb Medical Parkway to Cragstone Court. Pedestrian hybrid beacons will be located at State Route 12 at Hillvale Road and State Route 12 at Wellington Walk. This project was identified as beneficial to vulnerable road users, including pedestrians and bicyclists. This next project will replace the existing functionally obsolete Ebenezer Road Bridge over Macaulay Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1969, 54 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. The next project will resurface State Route 85 from State Route 1 in Muskogee County to State Route 315 in Harris County for 14.37 miles. This section was last repaved in 2005, 18 years ago. This project is a roundabout located at the intersection of State Route 8 and Connors Road. The project will consist of replacing the existing intersection with a single-lane roundabout. This project will improve safety and provide continuous flow at the intersection. And here's a layout of that roundabout proposed to be built. This project will replace the structurally deficient bridge on Watson Road over Reedy Branch tributary. The existing bridge was constructed in 1950, 73 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. The final project will replace the structurally deficient bridge on State Route 1, US 27, over Big Dry Creek, Austinella River. The existing bridge was constructed in 1947, 76 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. So we have a total of 33 projects proposed for the September 2023 letting, with 32 GDOT and 1 local let. This chart shows the distribution by improvement type. The estimate of these projects in the September 2023 letting is approximately $143.2 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type. I now ask for your consideration for approval of the proposed projects presented for the September 2023 letting.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion
Thank you.
approved. Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Now the commissioner's report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's a pleasure to be in front of you to provide the update from this month. And as always, we will start with our fund collections for July, which started, as a reminder, to start the fiscal year. Collections total $202.98 million, with $183.11 million being excise and $19.87 million in fees that Angela gave an overview yesterday in her budget presentation of what drove those fee components. So that brings year to date to exactly what it was, $183.11 million year to date. So that's good news. Let's move into our employment data. Really have some exciting news here. Last month we hired 80 employees and only had 50 employees separate. So that net 30 is always a net positive, is a good result, and 30 is tremendous. That brings our full-time staff now to 3,880, which is fantastic. As you recall, just a year and a half or so ago, we were at 3,600 and dipping almost to 35 into 3,500. So we are continuing to build back, and that's very exciting. Also exciting is all the work it takes to deliver the projects that Albert just presented to you, which takes tremendous support from our consultant partners to help us do the engineering, design, geotechnical, right-of-way, and all the things it takes to deliver projects. And for July, we executed 214 contracts, which totaled $161 million in contract value. That is our record in a single month of contract value at $161 million. So again, a lot of work to get those contracts underway, negotiated, and executed. And so good outcome there from everybody involved, legal, procurement, our subject matter experts, a lot of work to make that happen. All right, let me move into some projects that opened up to traffic since the last time we were together. Again, I'm just highlighting a few. There's many more, but just want to highlight a few. And we'll start with a capital maintenance investment in Congressional District 1 down in Chatham County, which is our GDOT District 5. And this is 6 miles of basically rehabilitation of I-516 from Milford Street to the west of Garden City Railroad overpass. So if you know 16 and then 516 comes off of that, this is including upgrades, and I'll show you a picture. It also included replacing the shoulders. And as you can imagine in Savannah, a lot of heavy freight traffic. The old shoulders were basically worn out, falling apart, and we use something called roller compacted concrete. So it's like concrete that goes through like an asphalt paver. It's a specialty paver that makes a thick concrete shoulder that will be durable and long-lasting. It's quite a neat technology, and certainly moves very fast too, so faster than if you do traditional concrete paving. But again, another tremendous capital investment for all the freight movement that comes in and out of the port there in the greater Garden City area. So this project finished up on July 7th. It represents, that 6 miles represents a $11.8 million investment, to give you some perspective. You can do that math. All right, let's stay, change that. Let's not stay in Congressional District 1. We'll move to Congressional District 2. How about that? In Baker County, which is GDOT District 4, this is a capital maintenance investment as well for 15 miles of milling and resurfacing and doing some shoulder work on State Route 37 in Baker County, from Calhoun County to the east of the Flint River Bridge, and you can see the map there, the layout. Also completed on July 7th. This 15 miles represents a $5.7 million capital maintenance investment. And you can see that, see the before, well, it's not the before, you can see what hadn't been resurfaced, and you can see what has been resurfaced. Certainly a good investment. All right, we'll move into Congressional District 10 now, up in Morgan County, which is GDOT District 2. And this is a capital construction project, which consisted of replacing a bridge and the approaches on a local road, on Clack Road, over Little River. The contractor was Gregory Bridge Company. It opened to traffic on July 10th as well, and this bridge replacement represents a $2.4 million capital construction investment. And there you can see the bridge. It was replaced. Now, I realize I don't think I told you the contractor on the 516 project and or the other project. So let me back up for a minute. On the 516 project was APAC Atlantic. They certainly deserve credit. And Reeves Construction did the resurfacing in Baker County. So apologize for that. All righty. So on this project, as I said, was Gregory Bridge. So, all right, let's move into Congressional District 12 now. Congressional District 12 in Washington County, which is GDOT District 2. This project is a great project. It's a little over 4.5 miles of widening and reconstruction of State Route 15 bypass from State Route 242 to State Route 15. It also included construction of a bridge and approaches over the Sandersville Railroad. The project basically bypasses Sandersville and Tennell, and of course that's where our district office is, in Tennell, Georgia. And so instead of having to go right through town, you now have a way to get around town. This is the first phase. There's another phase to come as well. The contractor is GP's Enterprises. It opened to traffic right at the end of the month. And as I show you this project was made possible due to TIA. So this was in the TIA region. In fact, out of the $36.5 million investment in this project, TIA provided $21 million. So this was a high priority for the region, and we're really glad that this project's now open to traffic. Another great TIA success story. You might hear another TIA success story later in my presentation, so stay tuned. All right, I'm going to talk about this next set of projects, which are right here in Metro Atlanta, I-285 on the east side in DeKalb County. This is not quite totally finished, but it's a major milestone. The bridges are substantially complete and open to traffic. This is part of the Major Mobility Improvement Program projects that we accelerated components of work that would be associated with building express lanes on 285 to do what I would call make-ready work or do work in advance that needs to be done, which ultimately lowers the overall express lane project cost. And we could go ahead and get this work done now sooner rather than later. This project basically is a design build project that addressed 3 bridges over 285. and we basically accelerated these projects. Now, instead of me talking about this picture, we've got a great video that highlights what these are and provide a little more detail. Let me go to that.
My name is Acho Njoko. I'm the Design Build Project Manager for the Eastside Bridges Replacement Project. The bridges on Red Wing Circle, Covington Highway, and Glenwood Road, all over I-285, we are replaced with taller, wider structures. Construction started in February 2022. A year and a half later, we have reached substantial completion. During construction, DDOT received a request from DeKalb County to add aesthetic closed window parapet walls to look like the county's Memorial Drive Bridge, to provide enhanced crash strength and long-term performance. And we are excited to have the updated structures and accommodate the county's request in the process. Thank you, South DeKalb, for your patience while we safely completed this bridges replacement project.
Really a great outcome, and again, I want to thank DeKalb County. CEO Thurman was really excited about getting these bridges done sooner rather than later, and also, again, thank them for their participation financially to update the aesthetics of the bridges, and now they have a real consistent theme starting there at Memorial Drive, working their way around 285 with the upgraded fencing you saw, and the parapet or the walls have design features in them. They look very nice. And again, I really appreciate our project manager thanking the people for their patience. This is major work on 285 as well as the overpasses, trying to maintain traffic and keep traffic flowing at very busy interchanges. These are some very busy interchanges. So a great outcome there, and glad that this work is done. Now, for work that's not quite done, but I wanted to bring to your attention, I know that Greg and Ann are aware that I-16 in Truitland County, unfortunately, we've had to close the westbound direction. And this basically going back to August 4th, due to our normal biannual bridge inspection, our bridge inspectors noticed some settlement in the supports that hold the bridge up, and so we began to monitor that, trying to understand what's going on, and unfortunately there was still some settlement going on. So in the vein of safety, we determined that we needed to immediately repair this bridge and to be able to keep traffic moving safely. District 2 put in a detour. It's about 7 miles on I-16, and the detour is about 11 miles. Now, sort of ironically, if you remember 2 years ago, we had a truck that knocked a bridge overpass off its supports on I-16. Well, the detour uses that very bridge we replaced. And so it's almost the same location where I-16 is over Pendleton Creek is the bridge, and so we're using the bridge we replaced as part of the detour. This is just north of Soperton, if you want to get some bearings of where this is, and the detour doesn't go through Soperton, it goes up to the north and around. So far, traffic has been bad through the detour. Obviously, there's some slowdown on I-16 as you have to exit off as 2 lanes become 1 to exit, but the detour itself has seemed to work very well so far. What's going on is, as you can see, it's never good to have to put holes in a bridge deck. But as you can see, what's going on is we're having to basically build supports to hold up the existing support that holds up the bridge deck. And so they basically develop holes in the bridge deck, and they put piles through those, drive piles through those, and then the bridge deck is repaired. It's stitched back together, and you pour concrete back in it, and you won't know it's there other than seeing a little square. And then they come in from the bottom and build the supports, and then basically they'll help hold up the existing supports that are there that have settled. So that's what was going on, is there was settlement of the substructure. And again, so we're basically stabilizing that. Since we had noticed the initial settlement, it has stopped settling, which is a good thing. The geotechnical investigation information is good. Is that we're in good shape, and this certainly will be a good, long-lasting solution. But the only way to do it was, as you can see in this picture, is we have to get out in the middle of the road, and there's no way to do that without closing I-16. We are targeting that we would be I-16 back open to one lane by this Sunday, the 21st, or that's the 21st is Monday, I believe, right? So the 21st is our target. We believe that we will be ahead of that. The contractor has done 10 of the 20 piles that need to be done. They're working on the other 10 piles as we speak this morning, and they're having some really good results, and things are going well. So we anticipate to be able to put out the temporary barrier wall. Again, our district's providing support to the contractor to put out the barrier wall, and we'll get one lane flowing while they finish doing the work underneath. It's possible and likely that at some point in the future, we'll have to close it back down, both lanes potentially. So stay tuned. We'll keep everybody informed. We certainly have been in contact with the city, the county, local police, EMA, also state patrol. It's been a big effort, again, to try to get the word out. So not something that we want to do, but something you have to do sometimes. And I just want to go back to highlight the criticality of the service that our bridge inspection people do. Again, that's why we do bridge inspections every 2 years. You look for things that may have changed since the last time you were there, and this is absolutely a great catch by our bridge inspectors to say, hey, something's going on. They noticed some differential settlement, which to probably all of us, I don't know that we have seen that. They're highly trained. They're very technical. They have a very thorough evaluation of all the checklist of the things they have to do. It gets reported back to Federal Highway. So it's a really good process. And again, that's exactly why we do this, so that there was not some ultimate bad story out of this. Closing I-16 is not a good story, but we just certainly don't want a bad story. So congratulations to our bridge inspection staff for the work that they do and doing their job so that we can be safe. All right, let me move away from that and get into some highlights of some great awards and recognitions that I'd like to bring to your attention. We're going to start with Ms. Patricia Smith, who is our Transit Program Manager in the Division of Intermodal. She's been nominated for Women Who Move Atlanta Award under the transportation category. And this nomination comes from the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. It's the second annual Women Who Move Atlanta Awards that'll pay tribute to a group of 7 women who've demonstrated exceptional dedication in the transportation industry here in Metro Atlanta. As COMTO says, that's the Conference of Minority and Transportation Officials, these individuals have not only pioneered pathways for future generations, but also shattered conventional barriers through their vision, leadership, dynamic approaches, and innovation strategies. So unfortunately, Patricia couldn't be here today to be recognized. She's actually at a Federal Transit Administration's conference taking care of business. But I also just want to brag on Patricia and her team. And this recognition is so well due. Not only do they administer the Federal Transit Administration funds to all the transit providers across the state outside Metro Atlanta. As you recall, the federal government, with some of the corona relief money, went to transit. So those are all new and additional grants that her and her team had to administer. And also, if you recall, we had the Transit Trust Fund that was a Transit Trust Fund formula program that we rolled out last year again to help administer transit or Transit Trust Fund dollars to transit providers across the state. So not only did they do their regular job, they did 2 extra lifts and got all the money out and worked with the transit agencies to be successful. So Patricia certainly is deserving of this award, and her entire team is. So congratulations to her. All right, so the Southern Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials met just earlier this month in Mobile, Alabama, where it was cool and damp. Just kidding, it was hot and damp. And as many of you were there and know, but The 14 states of FASTO did a great job coming together, and it's always an opportunity to come together and learn from each other, peer exchanges, and we had several members present at the technical sessions, including our Chief Engineer, Meg Perkle, and Director of Policy and Government Affairs, Mr. Josh Waller. They did a great job representing Georgia there on the technical committees. And also there we have awards. So let me share this great award with you.
Welcome to the FASTO Region's America's Transportation Awards presentation ceremony. Transportation influences every aspect of our daily lives, shaping the landscape of every community across the country, and is so important to our quality of life. That's why each year, AASHTO, AAA, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce join forces to celebrate the country's best transportation projects and talk about the impacts they've had on the communities they serve. 9 states in the Southern Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials region nominated 19 projects for this year's competition. Now, here are the nominees and winners in the FASTO region. In the Quality of Life, Community Development, Small Project Group, the nominees are Arkansas Department of Transportation's Slow Down, Phone Down, Work Zone Safety Campaign, Georgia Department of Transportation's Historic 5th Street Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project, South Carolina Department of Transportation's US 278 at US 321 Fairfax Intersection Improvements and Streetscapes, and West Virginia Department of Transportation's Trout Run Bridge. And the winner is Georgia Department of Transportation's Historic 5th Street Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project. This $9 million project transformed the outdated 5th Street Bridge over the Savannah River in Augusta into a pedestrian crossing. Originally constructed in 1931, this bridge was closed for years before Georgia DOT turned it into an active hub for community activities. Improving multimodal access in the area, the project carved out a viable option for those strolling on foot, jogging, or exercising. Today, there are numerous benches with shading, water fountains for people and companion animals, and substantial lighting for safety and aesthetic enhancement. The 5th Street Pedestrian Bridge is now listed as an Augusta tourist attraction and is set to host several community arts events and festivals throughout the year.
It's always great to win, but I would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the great work of our TIA team led by Kenneth Franks, but also the City of Augusta, who had the vision for this, again, a TIA project that they thought was important for them to fund, and we just helped administer their vision. And so congratulations to Augusta and the TIA team to make this a reality and to be a winner. Now, we will go on. Hopefully, we have enough votes that this goes on to the national. This was FASTO, so this hopefully gets us to the bar that we will compete nationally where everybody else. And if we don't get to compete, we're still a winner. So anyway, at least in my mind. All right, so let's stay with this multimodal approach of updates. And there was Meg. Meg received the award. I don't know what she's done with it. It's probably on her mantle at home. But anyway, we'll have to show you the award. I'm sure she brought it back somewhere. Let me just stay with this multimodal approach. And just a few weeks ago, actually, I guess it was last month now, time flies, we had an opportunity for the USDOT Assistant Secretary of Transportation for Policy, Christopher Coase, who is a Georgian, by the way, came down and helped roll out a grant to the Beltline. And you can see Stacy Key on the left there. It was very hot that day, folks. So Christopher Coase came down, presented, basically had a press conference about presenting the Beltline funding to help finish the part of the Beltline that is sort of the northern connection up in the Lindbergh area. Actually comes right under I-85. There's a big tunnel there, old railroad tunnel, right under 85. You never know what's there. Beautiful location that connects up. Will connect to Lindbergh. A very challenging project in itself, but certainly appreciate Ms. Key being there representing the department. I had an opportunity to meet with Christopher Coase later in the day as he stayed in town for a little bit. So a great opportunity again. And again, a partnership with the Beltline. I just want to again remind you that the federal dollars, we administer those grants through the Beltline. And so great partnership with the Beltline. In fact, we have a standing meeting monthly to catch up with them, or quarterly to catch up with them, and making sure that we're all working together as they develop a very wonderful multimodal path here around Metro Atlanta. So staying in sort of the mobility sector, again, technology is driving us forward very fast. And here you can see Janine Miller and myself were honored to speak at the launch of the Cumberland Community Improvement District launch of the Hopper. And there's the Hopper, which is an autonomous shuttle. Yes, autonomous. You don't need a driver. It will run by itself. The Cumberland CID, really excited about what they're doing. They took a concept and a conversation that we actually had a year or two ago, and they've made it a reality by providing a pilot here to use an autonomous shuttle around the Cumberland area. In fact, they have 2 routes for free. That's going to be happening over the next month or so. One of the routes is across the big pedestrian bridge from the Galleria across 285 over to the Battery, and you can take a ride in that to get you across that sort of long walk. And also, they're going to be running it in the Galleria area, in the office park area, to bring you up to the bridge. And so, they do have a safety attendant there. That person is not driving, but they're there just in case if something that should go wrong, which it hasn't and it won't. But it's really a great thing to prove out this technology that will be transformative, where you can have small shuttles. This holds 8 people. It also is able to be able to support people in wheelchairs or with needs. So it has that capability as well. But it really will prove out this sort of last mile connectivity that can get us around in the future. And again, autonomously. So really appreciate Cumberland CID for advancing this. They partnered with the company Beep. May be hard to see there. Beep is a company that we have a long relationship with, and certainly glad to see that they're deploying this technology here in Metro Atlanta. Let me just conclude. Conclude. No, I got more. Let me just advise you that earlier this month, too, Georgia was host to an AASHTO Committee on Design and also Transportation Research Board subcommittees held here in Atlanta. It was a 6-day, had over 300 people from across the nation representing the members of AASHTO and the Transportation Research Board, all focused on design. So a lot of work goes into that. Certainly had speakers, Chief Engineer Meg Perkle spoke, Deputy Chief Engineer Andrew Heath spoke, Haral Patel, our Director of Engineering, spoke, and a super big shout out to Andy Casey, who is our State Roadway Design Engineer, who's on the Committee on Design, but also helped work with AASHTO to pull this together to host over 300 folks. And so a great success. I've heard of great outcomes from that. And it's always great that we can sort of show off here in Atlanta and share the things we're doing at GDOT with others across the nation. Great opportunity, and I want to thank them for that. And so now I'm going to call on your inner child. If you can just go back to your childhood for a moment, and I want to share this last update with you. Last week, GDOT and the LEGO Discovery Center entered into its first-of-a-kind partnership to educate students on STEM careers in civil engineering, with the ultimate goal of introduction to opportunities like those at GDOT that may be available to them in the engineering world. To kick off this unique partnership with the LEGO Discovery Center, they unveiled a Lego replica of the Sidney Lanier Bridge, which is down in Brunswick, at this Discovery Center there, which is in Phipps Plaza. I think most people know where that is, but it's in Phipps Plaza, which is obviously a sort of a good tourist destination too. If you got kids, you're going to the Lego Discovery Center, I'm sure, when you come to town. This model included 4,315 Lego bricks, if you were curious. I'm sure it took a long time to build. I don't know how long it took to build, but it's the replica, and it's on display there. And our state bridge engineer, Don Diggerman, spoke at the reveal event, again, highlighting the department's commitment to ushering the next generation of transportation professionals to the workforce. It's a great way to get people engaged, gets kids engaged early in thinking about engineering and STEM activities. Also, to support this, we have produced a series of videos that are currently on our website that focus on how our employees and how Lego bricks can be used to build versions of infrastructure for every day. So sort of translating what you can do with Legos to the real world, sort of like what we looked at on I-16. That's sort of a Lego kind of approach too. We've got to put some bricks together under that bridge. So really a great opportunity to see how STEM and civil engineering can move us forward. Certainly want to thank Lego Discovery Center for their efforts. I mean, they didn't have to do this. And certainly want to thank Nicole Glenn, who heads up our recruitment, for making that relationship and having an opportunity to put our best foot forward. And again, whether kids get into the DOT or just in STEM in general in the workforce, it's great to be able to have the opportunity to present those things. So really cool thing. I think, yep, no, I'm not sure if I had another slide. Let me just close with this. I don't know if you had an opportunity to get out this morning. It felt wonderful outside. I just want to take a moment to reflect and thank everybody that's in transportation for what they have endured for the last few weeks or months, how hot it has been, how humid it has been. I joked a little bit about Mobile. Well, it's been just as hot and humid here, it feels like. So to all our construction staff, our maintenance staff, our operations staff, our heroes and champs that are out there every day, if you think about how hot it's been in the mornings, before daylight, it's been 80 degrees or more. If you think about steel and metal and products that are sitting out, they don't cool down much overnight, so it's hot to touch. And the good thing about asphalt, it doesn't care how hot it is. It's 325 or more all the time. So just think about the workforce that are out there in the elements while we're in the AC today. I certainly just want to give a shout out and certainly acknowledge their hard work, because they're all there to make Georgia better for us. So just want to give a thanks to them, Mr. Chairman. With that, I conclude my report and be glad to entertain any questions or comments.
Yes. Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We now have board committee reports. And the first report we have the Finance Committee by Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee convened August 16th at 1:30 p.m. Board members present included Dennis McIntyre, Emily Dunn, Ann Purcell, Rudy Bowen, Michael Gravely, Robert Brown, Kathy Williams, Kurt Thompson, Tim Golden, Jamie Boswell, and Jeff Lewis. First order of business was our treasurer, Angela Whitworth, presented the amended 2024 and the 2025 budget request. She reported that revenue for the amended 2024 budget request increased by a total of $36,622,959. This reflects an increase of $34,688,329 in excise and $1,934,630 in state general funds. The amended 2024 budget will increase to $2,426,608,551. She reported that revenue for the 2025 budget request increased by a total of $85,449,487. This reflects an increase of $45,833,829 in excise, $26,765,320 in transportation trust fund fees, $8,833,588 in transit trust fees, and $4,016,750 in state general funds. The 2025 budget will increase to $2,475,435,079. Michael Gravely made a motion to approve the fiscal year 24 amended budget and the fiscal year 25 budget. And Ann Purcell seconded the motion, and it was unanimously approved. The committee adjourned at 1:43 p.m. This concludes my report. I move now for the full board to approve the amended fiscal year 2024 and the fiscal year 2025 budget request.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, vote aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next report, equal access support by Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Equal Access Committee convened on August 16 at 1:50 p.m. Board members present included myself, McIntyre, Dunn, Brown, Purcell, Williams, Bowen, Thompson, Golden, Boswell, and Gravely. First order of business, Kimberly King, Director of EEO, gave an update of the GDOT Civil Rights Program. As the Civil Rights Unit at GDOT and the EEO office is responsible for staffing, coordinating, and investigating complaints, compliance considerations, and equal access issues relative to GDOT's federally funded program activity. The EEO office has responsibility for the administration and oversight of Titles 6 and 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the American with Disabilities Act, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and the On-the-Job Training and Small Business Program. Title 6 and 7 and the Americans with Disability Act's provision require the creation of an investigative process that is properly communicated throughout the agency to ensure compliance with the law. Each of the laws prohibit discrimination in the provisions of benefits, the employment selection and promotional process, and the ability to safely and effectively navigate the roadways and pedestrian travel routes for which GDOT has responsibility. The DBE on-the-job training of small businesses responsibilities require timely reporting and participation in program activities by minorities, women, and eligible small business interests. The EEO unit, along with their supportive service consultant teams, assist DBE, small businesses, and eligible individuals interested in construction trades to secure participation opportunities in state and federally funded project activities that are regularly reviewed, monitored, and reported for internal record keeping and federal regulatory purposes. No actions were taken in this committee. The committee adjourned at 2:24 p.m. This concludes my report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we have the report from the statewide planning report, Mr. Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
The statewide Transportation Planning Strategic Planning Committee convened on August 16th at 2:24 p.m. Board members present included myself, Jeff Lewis, Ann Purcell, Kurt Thompson, Dennis McIntyre, Robert Brown, Kathy Williams, Rudy Bowen, Emily Dunn, Jamie Boswell, and Michael Gravely. First order of business was Kelly Gwynn, the Assistant Director of Rural Metro Policy and Freight Planning, gave a brief status update on the the fiscal year 24-27 draft statewide transportation improvement program known as STIP, including how it was developed and explaining how the public involvement process will be conducted. She ended her presentation with an overview of the draft STIP approval process. The STIP is GDOT's 4-year fiscally constrained program for transportation and capital improvement and lists federally funded projects statewide. except those located in metropolitan planning organizations known as MPOs. The STIP is a federally required document. No actions were taken by the committee, and, Mr. Chairman, the committee adjourned at 2:34 p.m., and this concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Golden. Next report is the Gateways report by Mr. Boswell.
Thank you. The Gateways Committee convened on August 16th at 2:45 p.m. Board members present included myself, Emily Dunn, Kathy Williams, Rudy Bowen, Robert Brown, Ann Purcell, Dennis McIntyre, Kurt Thompson, Tim Golden, Jeff Lewis, and Micah Gravely. For first order of business, Felicity Davis, Landscape Architect Manager with the GDOT State Maintenance Office, presented an update on the Roadside Enhancement and Beautification Council grant. She briefly described the council and the source for grant funding. She also summarized previous phases of the grant program, shared some successful past projects, and discussed the Phase 7 call for application. The REBC grant Phase 7 will be open on September 1, 2023. No actions were taken in this committee. The committee adjourned at 2:56 p.m. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Boswell. Next committee report is by Ms. Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Committee of the Whole convened yesterday at 3:05 p.m. Board members present included Chairman Robert Brown, Purcell, Williams, McIntyre, Thompson, Golden, Dunn, Boswell, Lewis, and Gravely. The first order of business was from our Deputy General Counsel, Annette, reviewed the GDOT rules making process under the Administrative Procedure Act for amending new and repealed rules. This summary included the relevant statute that applied the internal process to draw a new or amended rules, the process for the board to open the notice period for public comment, the review of public comments, and the filing of the rules with the Secretary of the State's office. Our second order of business was from our Deputy Chief Engineer, Mark, who presented the amendment to GDOT's Rule 672-5, governing the pre-qualifications of prospective bidders. The first proposed amendment to be clarified was .01, that the pre-qualification rules do not apply to those contracts entered pursuant to the OCGA 32-2-80 through 32-2-82, except in those instances where specifically required. The second proposed amendment to subchapter .111 updates the formula used to determine the maximum capacity of rating for each registered subcontractor to reflect inflation and other market trends more accurately, and to provide a mechanism to update this formula in the future. There was no action taken by the committee during this meeting, and we adjourned at 3:34 p.m. This concludes our report. But, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the notice of intended action to amend rules and regulations governing the pre-qualifications of prospective bidders.
Okay, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Purcell. All right. Okay, we're going to do one aside for board elections, and I'd like to open the floor for nominations for board leadership.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Robert Brown for chairman, Ann Purcell for vice chairman, and Jamie Boswell for secretary.
Any discussion? Second. Any discussion?
I make a motion to Mr. Brown to serve as chairman,
Yes.
Ann Purcell to serve as vice chairman, and Jamie Boswell to serve as secretary.
Okay. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Ayes have it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we got the board, leadership set for next year. And, certainly appreciate, you all's help this year in getting through this board session that we're having. And certainly appreciate that very much. And, anyone else have any comments? No further comments. Board meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Because the first was a nomination.
Oh,
He's a fabulous guy.
You nominated.
And then you